Welcome to 100 Yards Football. Today we got our college football game previews. The Mississippi State Bulldogs taking on the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. Special thanks to my producer, Mr. Logan Landis, for making it happen this morning. Mississippi State and Alabama. I'm going to start with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Week in and week out, I know the competition is real at a high level in the SEC, and every week you're thinking Mississippi State has got a real good football team, which I think they do, and you think they're going to turn the corner. Big football game last week against the Kentucky Wildcats and ended up really didn't looking good. The Mississippi State defense gave up 200 yards rushing, gave up 196 yards to running back Chris Rodriguez of the University of Kentucky. But what I don't understand, this was a Mississippi State team that had scored 82 points in the two games previously before they went up there to Kentucky and played Kentucky. Their quarterback, Will Rogers, took a step back in that football game, 25-37, one touchdown, one INT. To make a long story short here today on 100 Yards Football, if Mississippi State is going to be competitive in this football game, make no bones, Will Rogers it's got to throw for more than 203 yards in that football game. And defensively, when you're looking at the Bulldogs, you cannot give up 200 yards rushing against an Alabama team. That's not going to happen. Or the Mississippi State Bulldogs are going to get run out of Tuscaloosa. Now let's talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm going to say two things about the Tide. Number one, kudos to Bryce Young. We've been talking about all these other quarterbacks that's been really performing on the national level. Hendon Hooker, no question about it. Michael Penix at the University of Washington. My man Caleb Williams at USC, California, YA, where Bryce Young is from. But when I looked at that football game last week, you're talking about greatness. You're talking about a player that was coming back from an injury. I have never seen a better performance that young man did against Tennessee last week. 455 yards, 67 percentage completion in that football game, 2 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of 153.5. Make no bones, Bryce Young was the best player on the field. And kudos to Jamar Gibbs that rushed for under 3 yards. Georgia Tech, I know you got to be sick at your stomach. I know you need some Pepto-Bismol. Because we knew that Jamar Gibbs was going to be this type of football player. Now to the key point that really stung me and what has this win for Alabama. Now you look at head coach Nick Saban. No question about it. He's called the savant of college football. He's done a hell of a job at the University of Alabama. National championship after national championship. But basically, when Nick Saban got to Alabama, what was the biggest key with Nick Saban? He was a defensive-minded coach. Last week, giving up 52 points to Tennessee. The only other time I know the Nick Saban team give up 50 points, you got to go all the way back to 1996 against Nebraska when he was the head man at Michigan State. And the Nebraska team had Lawrence Phillips, Tommy Frazier, Armand Green, Grant Wisdom, the Peter brothers. Where has the defense gone for the University of Alabama? And then you got arguably the best defensive player in the country, in Will Anderson. He was nowhere to be found. And you think about all those great defensive players that's played at Alabama. Eric Curry, John Copeland, Dante Hightower, Derek Thomas, C.J. Mosley, Jeremiah Castile, Mike Pitts, Tommy Wilcox, Marty Lyons, Barry Krause, E.J. Jr., Don McNeil, Curtis McGriff, Wayne Hamilton. Where has the defense gone with Alabama? That's the question I asked to the Roll Tide fans. Where had your defense? Because last week, Hendon Hooker let you up like a firecracker. He was on fire. The smoke in Neyland Stadium was blazing. Your defense was backpedaling, backfield in motion. But however, I feel sorry for Mississippi State this weekend because you know that this week Alabama's going to fix those leaks in their secondary. They're going to fix them leaks on the D-line, and they're going to play better defense. And right now, them losing one game and have a quarterback like the caliber of Bryce Young has from Trophy caliber, who last week I think put a stamp that he's still in this race. I'm sorry, C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State, but Bryce Young, 455 yards. He was special. He was special. He would not let that team from Alabama lose. He did everything he could. But it's the kicking game that let Alabama down and the defense. But coming into this Mississippi State game, I expect Alabama's going to be mad and they're going to roll. It's going to be sweet home Alabama. And Leonard Skinner. So I'm taking Alabama big. Alabama 49, Mississippi State 21. It's not even going to be close. They're going to put points on the board. Let me back up. Alabama 49, Mississippi State. I'm being kind, 31. I'm going to give you another touchdown and 3 points. Alabama 49, Mississippi State 31. The Tide is going to roll, and they're going to make a statement in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. Special thanks to my producer, Mr. Logan Landers. Thank you. Roll Tide. They're going to be rolling next Saturday. They're going to be rolling. Sweet home Alabama.